even though I haven't been in school for many years, September is still back to school season. Hello Tandem fandom, Jenny here, and today I'm coming to you with a video on all things dark academia and other academia. So, if you're anything like me, as soon as September hits, it's back to school season. And even though I haven't been in school for many years, September is still back to school season. And it's a time when I want to be reading dark academia. I want to be reading books set in schools. I want to be reading about magic schools. I want to be reading university, college romances. Basically, I just want to be putting myself back in the back to school vibes, which is very strange seeing as I don't think I enjoyed back to school time when I was actually school age. So who knows where my love of back to school has come from, but there we go. Oh, I have got next to me a stack of 10 academia books. They go from light academia to dark academia, basically all vaguely in the academic sphere. But there's more dead bodies and darker themes as we go along. If you like this video, if this sounds like it's going to be good to you, please do like, subscribe, comment down below, and do let me know as well what your favourite kind of academia book is, whether it's dark, light, back to school, just a school setting, magic schools, romance. I love it all. So the first book that I want to talk about today is the kind of light academia. So light academia is, in my mind, somewhere where you've got characters who are academic, they are studying, or they are somewhat in the academic sphere, but there's no dead bodies, basically. It's light, it's kind of fluffy. And for this one I'm going with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. So this follows Emily Wilde. She is exploring the north and she's trying to find out about different fairies to write her Encyclopedia of Fairies. In this book she meets her rival who is also trying to find out about the fairies in the world. And I believe there's a little bit of a rivals to lovers theme going on. This one is still on my TBR. I haven't read it yet. If you think I should read this, comment a mushroom or just let me know. So next we've got A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. So this one we follow our main character who is a student and she wins a competition to help design a house for one of her favourite authors from childhood. But she and her rival are both there at this house to sort of work on it, and they find out about this author's legacy, and there is lots of kind of mysterious magical things at play. I'm very excited to get to this one. Again, this one is on my TBR. I have not yet read it. Moving on, a book I have actually read, Where Sleeping Girls Lie. So in this one we follow Seda, who is starting a very prestigious boarding school. On her first day there she makes friends with this girl, and that night this girl, her roommate, disappears. We follow this kind of mystery because Seda is sort of at the centre of it. People are going to blame the new girl, and then we have a student turn up dead. This book is fantastic. It is quite chunky, but I read it so quickly. I was so engrossed. It's a fantastic sort of YA thriller set at boarding school. You've got those academia vibes. Outstanding. Another one that I have not read yet, but it is on my TBR, is All's Well by Mona Awad. So in this one we are following a student who is putting on a performance of All's Well That Ends Well. But the rest of the group, the drama group putting on this play, are trying to sort of stage a bit of a coup. They're trying to pull a Macbeth. And we've got this whole kind of mystery and tension around the play, around the students, what's happening, what's going on. There is some sort of mystery in here, and again I'm very excited to dive into this one by Mona Awad. The next one I want to talk about, and we're starting to get into the darker side now. We're going to have some dead bodies turn up soon. The next one is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. So this one is set at magic school, and we follow Elle, who is she's in her penultimate year at school, and she knows in this school you have to fight to get out. You enter, and then you basically have to spend your like 5 years at school building relationships, building groups, so that you can fight all of the monsters to escape at the end of your time at school. However, Elle is a bit of a lone wolf. She has not got any friends, and she has no connections, and is kind of just starting to realise that this may be a problem. So in here we're following Elle as she's sort of struggling with the school, which is kind of like a sentient being as well. Seeing her relationships develop. This series, it's a trilogy. None of the books are too big. They're all about 300 pages. But this series is absolutely incredible. I loved it so much. Absolute 5-star series. The magic isn't super prevalent. So there's magical monsters in here, but it's not like you're seeing people waving wands and doing magic spells. It's very dark and kind of grim, but it's amazing. Really recommend this series. Next, I want to talk about the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. So again, this one is book 1 in a trilogy. In this one, we follow a group of 6 students who are invited to the Atlas Society? Alexandrian Society, forgive me. However, there's only 5 spaces. So the 6 of them are like, what do you mean there's 5 spaces? It's going to happen. And it's sort of understood that they're going to just study for a year, and then only 5 of them are going to go through. The thing is they don't know what to study or how they're going to be picked to go through, or who's going to pick them. So they don't know what's going to happen. Do they need to be the smartest? Do they need to fight to the death? Nobody knows. But the prize, like I said, is to be taken into the Alexandrian Society, where you have access to the fabled Library of Alexandria. And wouldn't we all want to win that prize? This book, absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It's one of those which I'm really irritated with myself that I haven't continued this series, because I own them all. They sit on my shelves looking very pretty, but in my head I can only read them in September. And every September it comes around, I'm like, oh, I can continue with the Atlas 6 series. And then there's other new shiny books and I forget. And then in my head goes, whoa, you can't read that if it's not September. I really do need to continue that series. I'm planning to this month, obviously, it's September. Next up, we have got The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. First of all, how stunning is this cover? I love it. So in The Cloisters, we are following a student, I believe she's just graduated, and she is going to be working at the Cloisters, which is part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So we're seeing kind of art history, how these different things are, these different pieces of art are logged, catalogued, how it all works. There is then a slightly mysterious death that happens, and Anne, our main character, is right in the middle of it. It's so good. It is so fantastic. It's got a kind of eerie, almost gothic vibe, but at the same time is not fantastical. There isn't any magic, even though you might think, hang on, is this supernatural or not? Who knows? This book is absolutely fantastic. I ran a read along for this one last year and I loved it. Next, one of probably the biggest book on this list, and one that I expect most of you will have heard of, which is Babel by R.F. Kuang. So this one is a story of translation. We are following Robin, who is taken from China, brought to Oxford to study. He's brought to Oxford as a child. He grows up there, and then when he is old enough, he goes to Oxford University to study translation. In this world, there is a magic system, which is where you have like silver, which is endowed with different languages. So the translation of it means that you can do different things. Slightly complicated, but this book is just so incredible. It's one of those that I remember looking at it, reading the first bit, reading the footnotes and going, ooh, am I smart enough for this? And honestly, first of all, Arv Kwang is an absolute genius. So don't be intimidated by the fact that it is a very academic, intellectual book, because it is so accessible. And as we go on and more things happen, it's incredible. I really loved this book. I was blown away by how much I loved it. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. The next one that I want to talk to you about is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Again, this is one on my TBR. I have not yet read this, but I would like to. The Maidens are Cambridge University's elite society, but one is murdered. And there is a therapist who is kind of investigating this murder. She was a student in Cambridge and is kind of like finding out what's going on. We've got dead bodies. We've got a university setting. That's all I need to know to want to read it. The final book on my 10 academia books that I'm recommending this September is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This book is dark, yo. Like, whew. This is set at Yale. We are following Alex Stern, who becomes a member of the Ninth House. So she is sort of part of this society that helps to kind of stop ghosts and spirits taking over people. And again, if you're not a fantasy reader, don't worry about it. It's really not very fantastical. There is a fantasy element, but it's not super fantastical. Don't worry about it. Just read this book. It's going to be amazing. There is a list of content warnings as long as my arm for this book. So please do check them out before going into this one. But this book is so dark. We go to the depths of hell and back, let's be honest. But it's such a fantastic story. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing. I love her characters, and I just think this book, chef's kiss, amazing. Now, you might be thinking, hang on, Jenny, you've done a whole video about dark academia books, and there's one that you have not mentioned that you really should have mentioned. Well, don't worry, I'm going to mention it, which is, of course, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I am embarrassed to say that I have not read The Secret History. It's one of those that I'm kind of intimidated by. Like, everybody's read it and everybody says it's incredible, so I'm really scared to read it because what if I don't agree? But also I really do want to read it because, again, everybody has read The Secret History. I don't entirely know what it's about, other than it is the epitome of dark academia. If anybody would like to join me in reading The Secret History and to kind of hold me accountable to read this book, please do let me know down below, and we'll do our own like buddy read of The Secret History. If you like this video, please do leave us a like, subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what your favourite dark academia book is and if you've read any of the ones that I have mentioned today. If you check out our subscription box down below, you'll be able to find our links to our Instagram, TikTok and our newsletter, which you can sign up to hear all about our latest read-alongs. That's it for me today, guys. Bye!